This guy spent some time with us a couple of weeks back. We enjoyed it so much. We called, we begged, we pleaded. Did we send flowers and candy? And
Not yet. I don't have his home address yet.
Okay, we'll work on all of those things. But even we didn't do that, and he still agreed to come on to the show.
Yes, he did.
We are delighted to welcome once again to the show former Major League Baseball player and a man with some great stories. That's Greg Pryor. Greg, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Riley. Good morning, Joe. It's great to be back with you guys. And your excitement, your exuberance, your youngness, you guys must be still in your 20s. Is that right?
Joe's a lot closer to the 20s than I am, Greg.
I love your excitement, and I love this time of the year, and love baseball, obviously. But thanks for having me again, and it's great to talk to Sox fans up in Rockford.
Got to tell you one thing. You guys got to grab Greg's book. I've been looking at the reviews on all of this one. I've placed my own order for this one because I just have to read it. It's called The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave. You don't need more than that title to draw you in, but there's a whole lot more in that book. And that's still available everywhere, right, Greg?
Yeah, it's available at gregorypryor.com, and then they can go to thedaytheyankeesmademeshave.com. If they want an autographed copy, they need to order through my website, gregorypryor.com. I'll be glad to personalize it. And, you know, a little bit about me and why I wrote a book. If you want to talk about that book right now, it's fine. You know, I was a 29-year-old rookie with the White Sox. Bill Vett gave me a chance to play in 1978. I just turned 29, and I was my last shot, really. I mean, when you're 29 and as a rookie, you better be able to do it. And luckily, I got around a great manager named Bob Lemon in 78. He kind of put a warm blanket around me and made me feel like I was a decent player. And then, you know, I got around, Larry Doby was a manager, Don Kessinger, LaRussa. I played in LaRussa's first win as a major league manager in 79. And then after 16 years in the game, I had, settled here in Kansas City. We had 3 daughters, and I was telling these stories to my kids over the years, and then my youngest daughter finally said, "Dad, we need to write these stories out, or they'll just go forgotten if you don't write them out." So I started taping them into a phone, and I put down 27 stories about my career, and unique stories. They're not better or worse than anybody else's. They're just my stories. You know, about Comiskey Park, playing there, about playing on Don Kessinger night. LaRussa wrote my forward, and there are stories about what happened in my career that every baseball fan would enjoy, and I just had a great time writing it, and I have a great time talking about it.
Speaking of Tony LaRussa, you played under him. In our texts back and forth about coming on, you said you wanted to come on and talk to the No Tony crowd out there. You didn't. Now you didn't have all glowing things to say about Tony LaRussa in your book and some of the stories we talked about before. It was a questionable hire when the White Sox and Jerry Reinsdorf brought him in to helm this team, especially this team. What do you think, Tony? How do you think Tony's done in the first week and a half of this season?
Well, you know, just to touch on my involvement with Tony way back in '79 when he got hired as a young manager. You know, he spent 13 years in the minor leagues as a player. Most people don't know that, and I spent 7. So he spent almost twice as long in the minor leagues as I did as a player. Now he got up to the big leagues a little bit with Oakland, but you have to understand where this guy came from before he got hired as a White Sox. He'd watched the game from the bench in the minor leagues for years and years and years, and when he got hired by the White Sox, we were wondering, who is this guy, And, he was green when he started, and he knows it. But look what he did when he went on. He had success in Chicago in '83. They played in the division playoffs against Baltimore, got beat. And then he went to Oakland, won there, and then he went to St. Louis, and that's where his crowning achievements have been. I think in St. Louis, he had some wonderful teams there and wonderful success with Dave Duncan, pitching coach. So when Tony got out of baseball at age 71, which is what I am right now, I was happy for him because he made the Hall of Fame as a manager, and then when he got hired at 76, I felt so much younger. Because I'm still 71 and he's 76, and I'm thinking like, why would Tony want to go through the grind of a 12-month season? Basically, for a major league manager, it's 12 months. They don't take much time off, I don't think. And then the travel and go those weird hours in all those cities with young players who might not respect what this man has done because of his age and some of the things that have happened to him that people talk about, which I don't talk about, because I think that your success on the field is what people ought to talk about, or your failure on the field. That's what I want to talk to Tony about. But I think Tony took the job for the right reasons. I think he still had some fire in himself, and he knew that the White Sox had a chance to do really good things this year, and he took it upon himself to do that. And then when I hear comments like Abreu made a comment in spring training about how he has learned so much from Tony, and why can't you learn a guy from him? Now he might not be the sharpest tack as he was when he was in his 30s and 40s and 50s as a manager, but who cares? I've been around older managers before, and Tony being an older manager, if you want to call him that, he's still humble in my mind because of this reason. After a game in Seattle that they lost, I watched the post-game interview with him just to see how he talks to the press. And mind you, this guy has to talk to the press before games and after games every effing game, and that's not easy to do, especially when they're asking questions that he's been asked 1,000 times in the past. So Tony said in Seattle in the postgame interview that he puts a lot of the loss out there in that game where I think Seattle got 4 or 5 runs in the last 3 innings to win. He put it on himself. And a lot of managers they don't talk like that, and Tony does. And they're 5-5. It's not going to matter too much until the All-Star break or after the All-Star break what their record is, because you jockey for position all season long. And I'm just so excited that Tony's back in the mix again. He's probably getting ready to go to ballpark right now. He's a great man for the job, and I think that Reinsdorf made a great hire. And time will tell. And if people out there think that Tony's too old or he's not mentally sharp enough to be a manager, well, he's the manager, and enjoy the game and root for the White Sox every game, and leave Tony alone. Let him do what he's programmed to do, and I think the Sox fans are going to be pretty happy.
Well, Greg, you're 71. Watching Tony do what he does, give you any idea about getting back into a dugout and telling players what's what and where to stand and things like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty damn spoiled right now. My daughters are gone. They're off the payroll. They're out living their lives and having a great time. I'm so proud of them. And my wife and I work together. We have a business called rockford.youtube. It's a health and nutrition company, and we do well with that. And we help a lot of people understand how to stay healthier longer. And then, I had at one time I got offered a job to manage with the Royals when they would get rid of me, and I had 3 young daughters, and I just chose my daughters over baseball because baseball it's such a tough sport to live in because of the travel and the ups and downs. You have to be sad when you lose, and you can be happy when you win. And the way that life is, I wish I would have. Sometimes I wish I would have stayed in it because I miss it. But other times I'm glad I'm not. I have my weekends off and July 4th off in the summers. Okay, so I did it for 16 years. And, I traveled by buses and I eat my bus food. And I know the big league life is great, but it's hard to crack it in the big leagues. And I'm not going to disparage the game of baseball, but the game's different than when I played. I played where if I was a shortstop or second base, which I played in my career, guys would try to slide and knock me over. And now they can't do it. And it's just one of the small things or big things that has changed in baseball that I probably would have talked against, because I'm an old schooler kind of a guy, and when I broke in, I respected the guys that came before me, and I played with some old guys like Wilbur Wood, and I played with Bobby Bonds even when Bobby came through Chicago and played a little bit. So I respected those guys that laid the groundwork for me, and hopefully some of the younger guys coming in baseball will remember some of the older players that paved the way for them so they could play this great game and make the good money that they make.
You said you didn't want to disparage the game. I'm going to do it here for a second for you instead.
Okay.
I'll help.
You guys.
You obviously love the game, and you speak very frankly and honestly, and I like that. And I'm not the first one to say this. Baseball's got a problem right now. It's not unwatchable, but the way the game has gone, the 3 true outcome, the home run, the strikeout, the walk, has made it not interesting. There's been a lot of, suggestions how to make it more interesting. Maybe this will just figure itself out after a couple years. Do you agree with it? It's not uninteresting, a little harder to watch, and do you have any ideas to fix it?
Well, and I don't mind talking about it. I mean, I'm here to say I'm rooting for baseball. It's the reason why I'm talking to you guys. So I will never look down on baseball that much. But this game the other day that the White Sox and the Royals played up there, I think it was a 4-hour game, and the Royals won. It was a 4-hour game, and baseball did so much to try to speed the game up in recent years. They when balls hit the dirt, they throw them out of the game just to speed the game up. That's the reason why they did it. They try to put a time clock on the pitchers, and I think that the effort to improve the game, which in my opinion, maybe it needed improved. I don't know. I don't think so, because I loved it the way it was when I played. I don't know why they had to change it, but some of the things they've done, I don't think they've improved the game. I think they've regressed the game, because if you're trying to speed up the game and a 9-hour game takes 4 hours, how'd you speed it up?
Mm-hmm.
And now they make pitchers throw to 3 batters, which changes the record books. They do intentional walks to speed up the game, which changes the record books. And I'll question you guys right now. If an intentional walk where the opposing manager tells the pitcher to put him on first, and the umpire says, "Yeah, go to first base," so the batter goes to first base, is that pitcher charged with 4 pitches, or does he not get charged for 4 pitches for that intentional walk? I don't know.
That's a good one. I know he gets the walk, but as far as does the pitch count alter itself then?
I don't know, but my point is that, the baseball purists have talked about how these changes in baseball, with steroids especially, how it changed the rule, how it changed the record book. Well, all these new rules, starting a runner at second base last year, that changed the rules of that changed the record book. So I'm just scratching my head about some of these changes and whether they have been good for baseball. And in my opinion, they haven't, because if you go out to a major league ballpark now, and all honor to the people that ever got hit by foul ball. I'm sorry I hit you if I hit foul balls in the stands when I played, but there was no nets around the field for 100 years in baseball. And then somebody gets hurt in the stands, and some Chicago Cub lays at home plate and is sorry because he did it. He made an issue of it. Then they started putting nets up around all the major league ballparks. Well, what happened the last 100 years? How come nets needed to be up now and never back then? And it's just things like that I just scratch my head and say, why? Why? Because when you go to the ballpark, you better be ready to catch a foul ball, because they're going to come in there. And now they've taken that part of the game away, and it'll never come back, I don't think.
Well, I'll push back a second on you there, because, I mean, I think we just said before, 4-hour games. And so I think and 2 things here. We have 4-hour games, and we're expecting people to pay attention for 4 hours, especially when we have, cell phones in our hands.
No, I forgot to add. I don't mind a 4-hour game. I think baseball, when you go out there, you got to get your money's worth. When I was a kid, I lived in Akron, Ohio, and I saw the Indians and the Yankees play doubleheaders every time my dad would take us, and I didn't want to leave after the second game. I wanted to stay and see more baseball. So I'm not against trying to speed the game up. I think the game the timing of the game was perfect, and cricket takes several days to play. So what are they going to do about that sport? So baseball taking this time, it's like you have to really. For me, it's easy because it's a story inside of a story inside of a story. Because the game of the great game of baseball could be won or lost in the first or last inning. They all count. Every out counts. But to your point in regards to. What was your point that you wanted to take exception with?
Oh, just the netting. I just.
Oh, well, you know, I feel bad for people that I used to hit, but it was, I probably hit more people in the stands than I hit gloves in the outfield, you know. But I just don't understand. You know, it's just again, I know it's to protect people, but God, when you walk in the stadium, it's on the back of your ticket. You know, they've covered themselves, and you know, it's just I just don't think that. Sometimes when you have a small problem of one person getting hit in the arm or wherever, they change the enjoyment of the game for everybody. And I just question doing that because you know, as I said, if somebody can explain to me, you know, the benefit versus the detriment, I'd like to hear it because I just don't want to sit and watch baseball behind a net.
So the guys at MLB headquarters are tuned in this morning. They're listening in. They think to themselves, you know, let's do this. Let's call Greg Pryor and let's give him two things. Let's bring him in. He can do two things. You can add or you can remove two things that are in today's current game. Yeah. What would they be? Add or get rid of.
Yeah. I would allow the freedom to slide into second base to break up a double play and allow catchers to block the plate if they want. I would allow that back in the game. I mean, people, NFL football, they let guys run straight into each other, and they don't stop that sport. Anyway, I would allow that, and then I probably would eliminate the three batter rule because that, number one, takes away from the strategy of a manager who might have a better matchup in his mind, and I think they did that just to speed the game up. But I don't think that you ought to change that part of the game, 3-pitch minimum for relief pitchers, to just speed up the game. I don't like that at all.
Where are you on the DH?
Oh, I love the DH. I mean, when I came to Kansas City, Hal McRae was our DH here, and he led the league in RBIs in 84, 85. I think it might have been 85. He did it, but I wouldn't have been able to be around a remarkable man in Al McRae, and not only in the clubhouse but on the field, because he brought the history of the Cincinnati Reds playing with Pete Rose and Joe Morgan. He brought that to Kansas City, and I got to be around it for 5 years. Plus, I got to play poker with him on every flight. That helped too. And then I just think the DH allows these non-pitchers to stay off of home plate where they don't belong, and to be able to let a player that might not be able to play defense get up there and hit. You know, you have relief pitchers, and I think the DH is kind of like a relief batter. It's just that I was used to it when I broke in, and then I just think that it's great for the game, and I think both leagues ought to have it instead of one.
We're running out of time here, but I'm assuming since you didn't bring it up, you totally support and approve of the runner on second in extra innings.
No, that's crazy, man. I tell you what. Listen real quick, and I'll come back and talk about things later. But the Royals played in Cleveland last year, 10th top of the 10th. They put a pinch runner out there. They bunted him to third, so he's at third base. A sacrifice fly got him in. The next guy walked, and he got thrown out playing right into second base. So the Royals won a Major League game without an official at bat. Come on. That's not right. You can't win an official Major League game without an official at bat, can you?
The Royals disagree.
Well, you know, I guess you could walk four runners in a row if you could do that. But you still have to. That'd be in the bottom of the ninth, you know.
Right.
But the Royals won the game without an official at bat, and I said, wait a minute, has that ever happened before? And I don't think it has. Anyway, I just. I don't want to speed the game up like that. It's kind of softballish, in my opinion. And I played in games. I hit a walk-off home run in Royal Stadium in the bottom of 16th inning one time against the White Sox, and it's one of the biggest thrills of my career. But had they had pinch runners back then in the 10th inning, I never would have got up in the 16th, probably.
Mm-hmm. I never really looked at it like that. Yeah. All right, that makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, once again, we're up against the clock, and we're talking to a guy that we could literally talk to for hours.
Yes.
Once again, I hate the commercial construct of how all of this works. When we got a good chat going on. Greg, will you come back and hang out with us again?
Yeah, you guys are wonderful, and if it wasn't for the White Sox fans listening, I probably wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this for Minnesota Twins fans, let me tell you. But thank you, White Sox fans, for putting up with these guys and me today. Again, my book is available. It's called The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave. Go to gregorypryor.com and order a copy. I just ordered 100 more new copies, and after these are done, I probably won't do any more. So I've sold like 600-700 books, and I'm glad that you guys let me promote it on your show.
Oh, yeah.
And again, my business that I do for a living is called lifepriority.com. If you're into health and nutrition, go look at my website, lifepriority.com. And Riley and Joe, thank you. You guys are great, and thank your station WROK. And also thank Mike Dunn, who bought my book after your last show. And thank you, Mike, if you're listening.
Mike's a good guy. He is. And so are you, Greg. We appreciate your time very much, man. We'll look forward to our next get together.
Okay, thanks, guys.
There we go. There's Greg Pryor. And by the way, lifepriority.com is his website. I was just popping over there.
Yeah.
A beautifully put together website.
Yeah,
it looks like he's got some great stuff on there.
He's got some stuff going on.